Certainly, I came into psychotherapy nearly 20 years ago now, actually. It's passed quite quickly. I had a big interest in Taoism and Tibetan Buddhism, and I used to travel around and learn a lot. And I became very interested in the symbols and how they translated across cultures, and that led me to Jung, which led me to some very prominent Jungians who kindly ultimately agreed to train me, and that was my start. Since then, I also trained in clinical hypnosis, psychophysiological respiration, specialised in trauma, worked in CBT, so I was quite interested in continuing to develop. I worked clinically for many years, and then ultimately I ended up with clinical standards, and I realised I needed to understand a little bit about statistics, a little bit more about research, so that led me to doing a master's in psychology and to psychologist status with the British Psychological Society. And I just love learning, and I love continuing to develop in this field, which is fascinating to me. It's a fascinating area. I mean, you can see such a change in people when they come into a treatment for addiction via talking therapies, via integrative therapy. You can make a massive difference in someone's life, and that to me is why I came into the field. I do think the area's under-researched. I do think there's a lot more in-depth research that can take place, and that's the second passion of mine, really finding out about how we get the best outcomes for people we work with. It can be used as a buzzword. Quite often people use the term holistic when what they mean is sort of alternative. But where we come from it is a person is a complex, multifaceted organism, and they have their own unique patterns of maladaptation, and there are lots of different modalities and approaches which can best address those maladaptations and help the person lead a healthier, happier life. And so we come at treatment from a range of directions, from bottom-up approaches like yoga and breath work to top-down approaches like CBT and psychodynamic work. So that's what true holism is from my point of view. It's one of the reasons I wanted to come to Delamere was the fantastic work that's already being done. So it's not like a lot of services I've come into in the past and done a little bit of firefighting, tried to get it right. It's already right. What we're trying to do is get it even better, and Delamere is well resourced and well placed to continue to develop and be a real, leader in the sector, and that's what really interests me about working here. Yeah, this is a really exciting thing. Knowledge transfer partnerships are where academic institutions partner with businesses and things in the real world and obtain data and work together to transfer their knowledge, their expertise, to better refine what we're doing, to check our outcomes, things like that. So we're in the process of partnering with Manchester Metropolitan University, who've got a fantastic department, and the hope is that they can help us to continue to refine the programme that we have. Yes, certainly. I've had a few pieces published recently. I had one on neurobiology and emerging treatments in addiction, and the impact that they're having and the way that we could potentially go in the future regarding addictive treatment and addictive behaviours. I also had a overview and evaluation of a reflect system that I put in place regarding auditing psychological services. So that was a review of my earlier work, which came out quite positive, so I was quite pleased with that. And as I transferred back into this sector, I wanted to double check where we were at, so I did a thematic analysis of British rehabilitation centres, which was kindly published. I also have recently submitted and had accepted a work on ketamine and best treatment practices regarding ketamine addiction, so that should be an interesting piece of work that comes out shortly. Yeah, I absolutely love wrestling. I wrestle in the old Lancashire style, which is catch as catch can. I was lucky enough to be world champion for a few years, so that was fantastic. It's great to teach it to kids and watch how they develop. It's a very natural thing to wrestle. I think it's a natural mammal response. It's a really useful thing to learn about yourself and how you interact with the world. I also find it's a very mindful activity. It allows me to switch off and concentrate 100% on the game. It's often been likened to physical chess, and I think that's a really good metaphor. So yeah, wrestling is a very useful evening practice for me.